Greetings, folks. We're here on the beautiful Hall River in Alamance County, North Carolina. Taking a little time out here, enjoying the lake on my paddleboard. Just wanted to talk about one of the most impressive FAA programs I can recall in my 18 years as a aviation safety specialist, and that was a program that was done by the Kings, John and Martha King, the folks that are very well known for aviation training products. So the program I'm talking about is called the PAVE principle, and it was hosted by John and Martha King through the FAA, and it was just a great program. PAVE is an acronym, and to me there's a lot of these risk management type guides. There's some apps out there, but really if you use the simple PAVE principle, it's really profound how comprehensive it is while being so simple. It starts with the pilot. So the pilot is first, and it's just evaluating, okay, your currency, your medical condition, and that sort of thing. Are you ready as a pilot to fly? And each time that we fly, irregardless of our medical status, we're supposed to self-certify that we're okay for flight. Next up is the aircraft. So do we have an aircraft that's in annual? Do we have an aircraft that, say, has a high enough horsepower to go into an environment such as like the mountains? That's another issue you have to keep up with. Also, I would say that has to do with the pilot. There's a little interconnection there with the aircraft, because if you have less than 100 hours of flight time in a particular airplane, your risk factors go up. That means you increase your safety margin. So what does that mean? Well, you might want to carry more fuel, not fly in marginal VFR conditions. It's a little different for each person based on their experience and qualifications. All right, so next is V, and it's the V out of environment, and that does pertain to the weather you're flying into. So what kind of weather conditions are there? If you're a occasional VFR pilot flying the average of 40, 50 hours a year, what have you, well, your VFR personal minimums might be a bit higher than somebody who's flying IFR very readily and whatnot. Still, the IFR pilot might be making a VFR trip, and there's certain conditions there. Because there is a high amount of accidents, believe it or not, with IFR pilots where they go VFR to IMC. So they're flying in good weather visibility conditions and then continue on to IFR or marginal conditions and wind up having an accident. There's a lot of theories as to why. A couple of scenarios. One is you're pushing your luck, so to speak. You know, you're VFR and you're getting lower and lower, trying to stay in VFR conditions, and then you're in a tight spot at that point. Or you're just not prepared for it and to enter into the system. And the last one is one of my personal favorites, just because it's a very subtle thing that a lot of people, I don't think, keep in mind, and that's external pressures. I would like to add that there's internal pressures as well, not just external. You might have, say, for instance, a business meeting to go to, so somebody's really putting the pressure on you to be there. But we do internalize that situation and make it a critical thing that we have to get to, and that's not necessarily the event itself. It's how we perceive it and decide to have that affect us. You always have to have that mindset that safety comes first and you're not going to be pressured. As a real life example, I remember a fellow attended one of our safety clinics. He was pressured by his spouse to get back at a certain time. They had a family commitment. I think it was a birthday party or something, and so the pressure was on. We got to make it back, which resulted in them taking an unnecessary chance and departing in less than ideal weather conditions. Thankfully, they made it back, but I did hear from the gentleman afterwards, and he relayed, hey, I wouldn't have done that again if I had that to do over again. You don't need an app, you don't need anything. You just remember PAVE. It's the pilot, the aircraft, the environment, and the external pressures, and that should help you increase your safety for your next flight.